What is good, guys? It's Ronald Kabang, also known as Youcapper from Sportsmemo.com. Welcome to another episode of Let's Cap. You can see once again, I'm here with a special guest. I'm blessed to call this guy my friend for the last few years. You can see his work on Action Network and NBA.com. Probably seen him on TV too, because he been courtside at the Rockets games a few times this season. Austin Wang at a Wang underscore HTX on Twitter. What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. I'm blessed. Thanks for having me on. Just want to give you a quick shout out, man, and just applaud you on your success with Wager Talk, Sports Memo, and congratulations on the new show. I'm rooting for your success, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Real quick, obviously I mentioned the NBA.com stuff. This guy's really sharp in the NBA specifically, and also in the MLB. He's been doing the MLB as well. He's successful there. Guys, if you guys don't follow him yet, again, you can see his Twitter tag down there under his photo. So yeah, before we get started though, I do want to talk about what I learned yesterday, or what I want to bring that up here. One thing is the small market betting, especially for the new cappers out there. I do want to talk about like the WNBA. Obviously, a lot of people don't know, but WNBA starts today. A lot of people I talked to yesterday weren't even aware that it was starting, and for reasons like I heard about the WNBA. It's not fun to watch because there's no dunks, blah blah blah, or I don't even know any of the players, and some other reasons too. But these small betting markets like the WNBA are the type of sports that you really want to focus on, especially during times like these when you have the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs, when the lines are sharp as hell. You can take advantage of lines like this. Take this for example. Yesterday, you could have had the Mystics at -6.5. Washington Mystics play today, and they play the Indiana Fever. I did a show yesterday with Ski, and we were talking about how this was going to be a blowout. And when the lines came out, we saw 6.5, and we're like, "Yo, this is kind of ridiculous." Wake up this morning, now the line's at -9. So you can see just the little differences in these small market sports will move the line a lot, because there's not a lot of sharp bettors in these spots. So if you catch these lines early, you can make a lot of money, especially in the WNBA. Looking forward to that so far this season. Austin, I know you don't touch the WNBA much. What are your thoughts on like small market betting and versus, especially during times like these, like I mentioned, the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs, when the lines are sharp?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, if you bet into markets like the NBA, MLB, NFL, I mean, those markets are really efficient, and even when lines open up, there's not that much room to move for those lines to move. But if you're betting these smaller markets, you can, find these edges when the lines open up, and you can get a lot of either closing line value or find some considerable edges that will make you profitable in the long run. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, like one of our buddies, JB, that we talk to often, he in college basketball, he does a really good job focusing on one specific conference, and he just kills that conference, because you just got to worry about making money, right? And if you could just focus solely on one conference like the Summit League, and know every team, top to bottom, dude. I mean, people are so worked up on getting as many plays out there, doing the parlays, but there's always different strategies on how to make money sports betting. And I think small market is something that people need to be aware of. But yeah, that was the what we learned part. So now we move over to the Let's Cap. We're going to talk about both NBA games today and also one MLB play. First off, the two NBA games, Miami Heat -1.5, totals up to 210.5. They're visiting the 76ers. Obviously, Miami 2-0. Embiid news this morning, shifting the line. My Philly was favored to begin with, and then when Embiid was called out, shifted over to Miami -3. Now there's some news that Embiid might be active. He's trending in that direction. Now the line is moving back to Philly. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, I'll say this Embiid situation has been really annoying from a handicapping perspective. I mean, of course, the line in the recent news is indicating that he is going to be playing, and so I'm going to go with that assumption as of right now. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the line was as high as -3.5
Yeah.
in favor of Miami, and now they're down to, I've seen 1 point underdogs at some shops as of maybe about an hour ago. I
Mhm.
mean, uh, I've got tickets on Miami -1 and the over at 210, and it's because I was assuming he was out. I was anticipating more small ball lineups without Embiid. I think they realized real quick that DeAndre Jordan just ain't going to cut it. He's not effective, and his minutes have just been decreasing. And even if he starts, I wouldn't anticipate that he would have gotten much to begin with.
Mhm.
And they played Furkan Korkmaz and Niang more minutes in small ball lineups. So I
Mhm.
just imagined a faster pace of game, and I thought 210 was a little bit light. Also favoring the Heat. Victor Oladipo has been really productive in his minutes off the bench. I think they realized Duncan Robinson was a liability on defense and just not able to create his own shot. And Oladipo has just come in and given them a spark off the bench. 19 points
Mhm.
in game two. Adebayo was crushing it without Embiid in the middle, and just
Mhm.
Miami was just destroying them on the rebounds. So of course all that changes with Embiid in. I'm not really too excited to play this game with all the uncertainty, but I do have some at Heat -1 and an over 210 that I played earlier.
Yeah, it's always tough, especially with these injuries, and because we technically don't even know if he's actually active for this game, right? It's gonna come down to the last hour, 30 minutes, or
Right.
I mean, sometimes even tip off, we won't even know if he's playing. So that's the tough part about this, and that's the reason why I haven't touched it. I mean, luckily, I don't typically put my bets in until like the day of. And if I did it last night, obviously we would have. If I wanted the Sixers, it would have been a bad number. So I mean, the news about him clearing concussion protocol, taking, participating in shoot around. To me, it seems like he's trending in the right direction for the green
Yeah.
light to actually play. And that's, we could see that line going. The only reason why I would go against Miami here is during the regular season they didn't travel well against conference opponents from home to
Mhm.
road. They were 4-9 straight up, 4-8-1 against the spread. Sixers will also do fairly well in revenge spots, 17-8 straight up, 15-10 against the spread. Obviously, in this situation, we're just looking for who's going to win. And I just see my guy YBB pop up. What's going on? Hold on, let's finish this real quick, and then we'll get him in here. He
All
probably
right.
has some thoughts in this game as well. But my understanding is Embiid plays, and I think that if once his status is clear, obviously the line's going to move. But I'm more inclined to play Philly here if he plays. If he doesn't play, then obviously Miami. I feel like they continue to steamroll these guys without Embiid. But another thing to think about too is Lowry coming back. If he actually is active for today's game, from my understanding, he's a game time decision. But if he's active, he might affect the rotation that they've been successful with so far in the series. Like you mentioned, Oladipo, right? He's one guy that has been able to come in and do his part, and in place of Duncan Robinson with the defensive liability that you mentioned. So
Mhm.
him coming back in, how does that affect the rotation? And B coming back in actually helps the rotation, because obviously they didn't shift their offense. They played DeAndre Jordan similar to how they would with Embiid, but not obviously they're not force feeding him like with it would be Embiid, but they
Mhm.
did it for a reason. So that's my thought process here. I'd probably wait for the Embiid status to be official and then make a move there. And then let's bring up YBB here. What's good, man? Thanks for popping in. I think are you on mute? I don't know if you're on mute.
Yeah, there we go. I think I'm good
There
to
you
go.
go.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
you're
There you
good.
go.
Yeah, yeah. What's up, man? You got any thoughts on
So
this Miami Sixers game?
yeah, all right. So there's a lot of uncertainties with this game. I feel like we're betting based on assumption at this point. We're either assuming Joel sits or he suits. We actually don't know. What I will say though is these teams that are down 0-2 in this playoffs, they've done pretty well covering the first half. This actually goes back to last playoffs as well. These teams that are in
Hmm.
desperation mode, they do come out pretty hot first quarter, first half. That's the only way I would look with Philly, but I just feel like Miami is the hungrier and they're the deeper team. Um,
Hmm.
I have no reason to go against Miami in this spot, but at the same time, it's not a game that I'm really rushing to the window to bet because I don't know enough about this game. I don't know who's in, who's out. I don't know. Like the
Yeah.
line is just all over the place, and it's a telling story. It gives me enough reason for me to stay off. But you guys brought up a lot of good points. Victor Oladipo, he's taken a lot of Duncan Robinson's playing time, and he's been doing pretty well. It's just another reliable scorer for the Heat. Instead of Jimmy Butler having to do too much work, there's that workload that, you can give to Victor Oladipo. He can create his own shots. There's just a lot more going for Miami than there is for Philly, in my opinion. But if Joel does play, oh man, it just changes the whole layout of everything, and that's the thing. That's where it's like, now we have to guess if he's playing or if he's, if he's out. We don't know. So I'm going to stay off, but if you're forcing me to make a pick in this spot, I'm going to take the Sixers first quarter, first half. I do think that they play a lot better at home. Like you mentioned, they are good, in revenge games, and they're also good when the spreads are pretty tight. When they're not a 2-point dog or where they're not a 2-point favorite. And right in between there at home, they've done pretty well. I believe it's like 17-8 ATS. I have to look again, but they cover those games at a high clip, but they can also let off the gas a little bit second half. So that game I'm going to touch, but I would a Heat full game and Sixers first quarter, first half.
That makes a lot of sense. I was just on J Money show, and we were talking about the Philly first half there, the motivation part, and you bring a good note that teams down 0-2 coming into the third game, they do well coming out the gate. So that definitely is a good look. And I also talked to Jay after the show about the reason why he took Philly first half and not the full game is because obviously if we look at just the coaching aspect in the second half, I would take Spoelstra over Doc any day. And, so even if Miami takes that, or even if Philly takes that first half, there's definitely an opportunity for Miami to come back and not only win but cover the spread. So I can see that happening here. That was awesome.
I like that. I think if Embiid ruled in, I think I'm gonna follow and go Philadelphia either first quarter, first half, and stick with my Miami full game spread. I see that game script happening exactly like you played it out.
There was two scenarios that fit that first quarter, first half script. One of them is the teams that are down 0-2 that are at home. They're usually coming out pretty hot first quarter, first half. And then the teams that are down 3-1, elimination games. Those teams are also coming out hot in the first quarter, first half. Now, we saw that multiple times with the Raptors against Philly. But this is just not a game. We don't know anything about this game. We're all just kind of clueless. That sport is messing everybody up. So I'd rather not bet on an assumption. I'd rather bet on something that I know. So I'm going to it's just all around a pass for me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Definitely wait for Embiid's official status to make the call. Let's move on to the next one. We got Phoenix visiting Dallas. I think right now it's at PK, right? At Pick'em. And the total is around 219. Austin, what do you think about this game?
I mean, for the second consecutive game, the Mavericks have hit more three-pointers. They got to the free throw line more than the Suns, and I feel like they got a really favorable whistle on the road in the last game. And DeAndre Ayton, he got in foul trouble in game 2, and he was the one that dominated in game 1, and Dallas had no answer for him. He was finishing alley-oops, fadeaway jumpers, hook shots, what have you. And even despite him being in foul trouble, the favorable whistle, three-pointers, the Mavericks still lost. And granted, Phoenix isn't going to shoot 60% from the field again, and you can expect some regression. But it's not like Dallas has been playing terrible. They've been playing fine on the offensive end as well. And I think there could even be some regression from Luka as well, especially if he's not going to get any help from his teammates. I mean, Jalen Brunson has disappeared this series and has been awful after his big series against the Jazz. On the other hand, CP3 has been amazing. Took advantage of Luka on the switch, especially in the second half of the last game. Booker looked a little off in game 1, but looked really healthy in game 2. And I just don't think Dallas has any answers for Paul, Booker, and Ayton. And they still haven't gotten much production from Mikal Bridges, and he hasn't been all that involved yet either. So using the same angle, the down 0-2, I think Dallas will be able to come out strong and early. But I think Suns take it down full game. And I did have a trend I wanted to share. So favorites off a win at home where they shot at least 50% from the field are 55, 29, and 1 against the spread since the 2014-2015 season. So expect them to continue to be efficient from the field. I like the Suns here.
Awesome. Oh, what are your thoughts, YBB?
Man, I don't even want to talk about it. I was so heavy Dallas. I was like, we're gonna make it competitive. Luka, Brunson. We need a little bit more of Spencer Dinwiddie. I was so confident. Like, I thought we could make it 1-1 or still at least one game. Looking at the landscape of the entire series, though, I gotta stop doing those homer picks. You know, I'm a Mavs fan, but
That's hey, on Friday, last Friday when we did the show, I told you
I know
I was expecting. I
I
told you about it.
was like, don't talk to me right now, man. But yeah, that's how it is, man. We're relying way too much on Luka. Luka's way too ball dominant, but we are doing good the first quarter, first half. That's where I would look again. But I don't know that we can, beat this team full game. If you look, last game they scored 40 fourth quarter points on Dallas, and Dallas, they're usually they don't allow that many fourth quarter points. One of the angles that I like looking at is teams that score over 40 points in the fourth quarter in revenge games. They actually come out, the under is actually pretty hot. But again, I've been slapped in the face on the under too. Like, it's this whole series, it's been hard for me to predict or to cap. And I have zero plays today. I'm just analyzing. I'm just looking at it, in different aspects. But I think that the Suns go up 3-0 on us, and it's tough to say, but they're just they're too much. They're too much for us. Like, they actually have a center. We pretend that Dwight Powell is our center, and he's athletic, but he is just, he's just not it. We're missing a piece. Dinwiddie hasn't gotten going yet. Jalen Brunson is just a little too quiet right now. It's just a Luka show right now, so. Yeah, I would have to go with, Phoenix covering the spread, winning, and going up 3-0. And I hate saying that, I really do. But at pick, it is a valuable line, and here's why. If you look at the lines in the playoffs, they were -6 point favorites in the first two games and covered both. In the playoffs, when you go from a 6-point favorite to around pick 'em, or you're not a 2-point favorite, I have to do the SDQ again, but I found a parameter where it's giving out like 68% winners. It's a line discrepancy thing where you're seeing them basically the following game, they're assuming that home team should be around a favorite. And if not that, that big of a dog, those teams are still winning. It's just a line movement to get, it's a line. I can't remember what I called it. It's a trend basically, but it reflects a lot of, support for Phoenix. So you go from a favorite to a pick, like that's value, right off the gate. So
yeah,
I wish I had
a lot of
right now because it was very eye candy to me, but I do not have.
I mean, I remember seeing Phoenix as short dogs this morning and late last night, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a 7-point move going from Phoenix to Dallas. Like, how does that even make sense? I mean, I think the market's adjusted now, and about pick or Phoenix's small favorites is about right. But yeah, I was definitely shocked when I saw them as underdogs.
You want like the trends to align with a system, to align with an eye test. The eye test of Mavs are not. We're undersized, and we are too reliant on one person. But the trends do say that, the Mavs are 24-4 ATS following a road loss. One of those road losses happened last game. I don't know if lightning strikes the same place twice, but I'm assuming it does, but just because of how we match up with them. We don't match up with them very well. So
yeah, I mean that's what I was looking at too. Obviously we're all very analytical, and I was bringing up the trends for both teams here. And from the side perspective, ATS and straight up, I could see so much support on both sides in different situations, and that's why I really typically just in those situations I typically just kind of pass on that game and focus on the total. And in this spot here, I mean, like I've been burned on the under the first two games. Obviously these are two top defensive teams, and the Suns really just kind of, I think they've been the one that's pushing this total over, right? Because obviously they're shooting a high clip at a rate that I don't know can be sustainable. I think they've hit over 50% in every single game so far in the playoffs, and to do it against a Mavs team that is a really solid defensive team. I just don't know if they could do it again a third game. I mean, to me, I'm going to go back to the well and just take the under, because especially in this situation here where the Mavs are at home and they are a strong under team at home, 31-13 to the under. at the house, and then if you add that they're playing a playoff contending team, a team with a winning record, it's an even better percentage. So to me, the only way that I could look is towards this under here. I don't know if I want to mess with the side at all. And another thing is, I brought up Brunson under points because of his matchup against CP is totally different than when he played against Conley in Utah. He's not able to post up in a way that he used to, or drive into the hoop. Phoenix is just a better overall team defense, and CP is a more physical defender as well. So he can't take advantage the same way he did. That's the reason why I see his points props to continue to go under. But when I look today, it's juiced a lot to the under. So that's the only reason why I kind of stayed off. I hate laying that much on a player prop, especially. But yeah, for me, the under is the look here. The side is just way too questionable for me. If anything, I would lean with you guys towards the Dallas first half, with the whole perspective of being down 0-2. They had that motivation to try to do well in this game, or at least start off well. And sort of the theme with the playoffs is depth, defense, and coaching. That's just going to take over in the second half, and we'll see maybe Phoenix just come out with the win here towards the end. But yeah, those are the two NBA games today. Yeah, anything else? Go ahead.
No, that's it for these two games for me.
Well, I think that what you were mentioning about like the under, we're saying the under also, the line is moving upwards as well. Like the books are kind of setting it to like the pace. But if you look at both games, there were moments where it's trending towards the under, but the Mavericks get they're playing the Suns game. That's how the Suns want to play. They want to play transition. They want to get shots up. They want to make you hurry up and on offense. And that's not how the Mavericks are going to win. You need to play half court offense, and you can't keep up with these guys, That's how they were winning all season, and how they were staying under the total all season. They forced other teams to be half court teams, but we have not been able to do that with Phoenix, shooting at such a high clip that they've taken the Mavericks out of their comfort zone. And they're forcing them to play a style of basketball that they are not accustomed to. So, yeah. I mean, both games are very toss-up, but both of them have a lot of time.
Yeah, one thing to note too on the as far as like pace of play, right? If you look at like the amount of field goal attempts, it's still a very low amount, to the point where if they actually hit at a normal clip under 56% or 50 whatever percent, they would have been towards the under. So the pace of play is sort of still on the Mavs side. It's just the Suns are just hitting at a crazy clip right now, and that's the reason why I was leaning towards the under again, is because I don't know if they can continue doing that. It's just way too much of they just got to be, at some point they're gonna have to come under 50%. There's no way that any team can do this, especially in the playoffs. And with them having travel, maybe that could be the part that affects them offensively. So we'll see how that goes.
I would say that, like, if they're not able to contain Ayton, or if Powell starts to get in foul trouble and they bring in Bertans as at center, and he starts shooting threes, and they're trying to fight fire with fire. I mean, that's the only argument against the under, is that Dallas is going to try to, if they can't defend them, they're just going to try to continue to score. And I see potentially some small ball lineups with Bertans, and even though that sounds much to their detriment. But even
Bertans or Kleber out there instead of Powell, like you guys mentioned, would be good.
Yeah.
I think your audio is cutting out.
I'm out of both games. I have no picks on either.
All right, so those are the NBA games today. We're gonna hit one MLB game because I think me and Austin have a little bit of an agreement on this one, so we want to give this one out. We have the Colorado Rockies visiting Arizona. Arizona's minus 140 favorites. Totals up at 8.5 right now. Austin, you want to start that off?
Yeah, my favorite matchup is my favorite pick is on the under in this game at 8.5. I like the first 5 under at 4.5 as well. We got Chad Kuhl and Merrill Kelly on the mound for their respective teams, and Merrill Kelly's got an ERA of 1.27 in his 5 starts. Kuhl has a ERA of 1.9 in his 4 starts. The teams are combined 1 an 8-1 to the under in both their starts this season, 5-0 to the under in their respective home away splits. And I think, Rockies have played more home games this season, and I think their averages at Coors Field could be skewing some of these averages. They're only averaging 3.1 runs on the road, which is 28th in the league, and they really haven't even played a tough schedule on the road either. They've had series against the Tigers, the Rangers, and the Phillies. And with the ways the unders have been trending this season, and the below average offenses of both teams, I think the under is a really great look.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Obviously, you mentioned Cool and Kelly, and the fact that they're 8-1 combined to the under in full games. They're both averaging over 5.5, close to 6 starting innings pitched per start. So you can see the first 5 under is pretty solid too. The reason why I would focus more on the first 5 also is just because of the Rockies and Diamondback bullpen. Both of them with the ERA over 5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. At least close to 5. So that's the reason why I would stay away from the bullpen there. Obviously, the Diamondbacks, they're hitting 193 against righties so far this season, even less against lefties. They're just not a great hitting team, period, so far this season. So I could definitely see the under. For me, I'm probably going to put my money on the first 5. I trust them, the starters, to take control of this game early, and hope the bullpen don't worry, not really have to worry about the bullpen. Basically, is what I'm trying to do, because that's burned me so far this season. YBB, are you touching baseball this year?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of baseball today. I have yet to. Well, one of the games I was looking at actually got postponed, so I have to figure out what's going on the East Coast with the weather. So,
yeah,
but there was a couple of spots I was looking at, and 2 cancellations so far. Another one that I'm looking at is Sammy Alcantara and Yu Darvish. I'm kind of leaning towards the over in that game, and I know 6.5 is kind of valid, but also if you look at Sammy Alcantara's last start, that he gave up, I believe, 6 runs, and I that trend is going to continue today. I think 6.5 is just a little too low. That's my opinion, and I understand why it's as low as it is, but that's one of the games I was looking at. And then the other one is the Mets. But it's just it's contradicting because I have a system play on the Phillies as well. But the Mets, it's a trend play. They are, I believe, 14-0 straight up with forgot his name already. I'm blanking out. But with
you talking about the starting pitcher?
Yeah, starting pitcher. They're 14-0 with him on the mound. But I have these systems that I have on action, and you know how you can see what's active. I have I believe 2 of them that are on Phillies today. The line is just a little too tight, but that's one game that's just eye candy for right now. I haven't touched it yet. I haven't even really looked, but only play that I would eye right now is Marlins and the over in that game. But that's it. Okay. I need to look a little bit more.
Yeah, I had that one circled too. Yeah, I thought that 6.5 was a little light for.
I thought it was a little low. Yeah. That's the only game that I'm really looking at, though, and it sucks because usually I want to have NBA action, but I'm not trying to force anything. It's just I want to pick my spots pretty conservatively, and that's kind of what this slate brings me to. Especially when you cap 2 games that are canceled, man, it's a little discouraging. So, we'll maybe look at just one MLB play for today, but
yeah,
that's it. Right.
Ronald, I'm with you on that first 5 under on the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, let's get that one. We'll lock that one in. What would you say?
I'm gonna tell you guys on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with that one. I really like that for under first 5. So that's gonna be it for the show today. No Youcapper play of the day. So we'll rock with these. We got the 2. We talked about the 2 NBA games. We talked about the MLB Colorado Rockies versus Diamondbacks. I'm gonna go through what we picked as far as plays. From what I remember, we're looking at Philly first half in the first game, and then possibly taking the live or the second half on Miami to end up winning full game. And then because obviously if we're gonna take Philly first half, you don't want to take Miami full game pregame because you would get a better number at halftime. So that's the way that I would look at that. I think you guys were leaning towards Phoenix money line in game 2 is the way you guys were looking there. I was eyeing the under, but I just don't know if I'm gonna touch this game at all, to be honest. I'm looking more towards that Philly first half in game 1, and then yeah, you're out. And then Rockies D-backs under in first 5 is what me and Austin is looking at there. I think he touched the full game as well. And then also a lean on the Marlins Padres over 6.5 with Austin and YBB, kind of in alignment there. So yeah, that's the end of the show. You guys have any last words from you guys? Anything you guys want to promote? Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, check out my article.
I have nothing really to promote. But...
So I was just gonna say, check out my articles at Action Network, and I appreciate you having us on, Ronald. Let's do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, YBB.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I look forward to doing this on Friday. Today was a little bit like I had errands. I should have let you know ahead of time, but yeah, I was good. Like, man, I have to make it home to the show. I told Ronald I ought to be available Fridays. But yeah, you guys can find me at YBB Sports Data. We got a lot of fights tomorrow. Bellator is on right now, so that's actually what led me to rush home as well as the show.
Hey, can you give anything out for
the UFC card tomorrow?
Can you give anything out for UFC? At least one play?
Yeah, and I would say Charles Oliveira in the distance plus 100 holds a lot of value. I do want Justin Gaethje to win. That he fights too recklessly, and I think Gaethje's best shot is going to be in the first 2 rounds. But I don't know, man. I'm done fading Charles Oliveira. I think he gets it done by submission probably. He's just a smart fighter. He's just way too smart of a fighter, I think, in this matchup. He's much smarter. I think I've seen enough. Yep. Yeah. He's just too game now. Can't break him anymore.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, all right. Well, that's the end of the show, guys. Once again, I want to close out just to let you guys know you guys could fade or follow us. It's on you to make that call. Good luck on all your guys' action. Till next time. Peace.